Hello everyone who likes lightning and hoods and having lightning in your neighborhood. I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths, neater faction overviews. And Royston or anyone else will not be joining us today because, well, that's just not how life works sometimes. But special thank you and shout out to Serb, one of the people working on the Lightning Hoods in the From the Depths community, for sending me some special blueprints, which can hopefully showcase the direction in which this faction is going in the future, and which hopefully will mean that this video isn't too horribly outdated by the time the big update hits at roughly the end of November this year, 2024. If you're watching this not in 2024, hello from the past. I hope you've fixed everything. Alright, so Lightning Hoods, let's talk about them. So, this is one of those divisive factions. Most people agree that the Twin Guard, for example, is at the very least quite annoying and pretty challenging. People know for a fact that the Grey Talons and Scarlet Dawn can whoop your ass if you're not careful. Everyone loves bullying the Deepwater Guard and Onyx Watch, but the Lightning Hoods is one of those factions. They can be really... I don't ever like to use the word easy in relation to anything in From the Depths because, well, I don't know. This game is very subjective in its experience, and like who knows what you actually find easy or hard, but they are pretty straightforward, or they're friggin' impossible depending on your playstyle and depending on whether you know what's coming or not. Like with other factions to a greater or lesser degree, you can kind of fumble your way through it, but the Lightning Hoods, unless you're lucky or unless you know ahead of time how to deal with energy weapons, you're gonna have a bad day. So first off, we're going to talk about the map characteristics, and we're going to teleport our friendly Megawatt over to where the Lightning Hoods hang out. So that's around here. This is Orkhurst. So a particular thing to note about the Lightning Hoods, they're part of the map, is that there's a lot of shallow sea, and there's a few significant islands, so to speak. So usually when you're done with the Deepwater Guard, you're over here, Janwall, and then you've got... this area over here is the Lightning Hoods neighborhood. And so, you'll notice that this undersea terrain here is quite shallow and it's also quite rough. This is an anti-submarine measure because in the past, and still to quite a noticeable degree today, the Lightning Hoods are very fond of lasers. And more recently, plasma, like what the Megawatt is armed with. Those things don't do well at shooting underwater, so they're part of the map. Encourages you to not cheese them underwater, because if you have not terrain-proofed your submarines properly, they will commit harakiri on these underwater hills, and the shallow bits are also gonna make it quite likely that they will beach themselves. And the lumps of land, as well, are also kind of a counter to the idea of like, alright, just hide underwater, because if you're not paying attention, your submarine will stop being submerged, and then you will die. And yeah, you will need to keep a beady eye on your ships, particularly anything that's mostly underwater. And this is really like, I don't know, like really the lesson in terrain avoidance and proofing is over here when you're fighting the Deepwater Guard, or over here when fighting the Onyx Watch. But to a lesser degree, dealing with shallow water, that's where the Lightning Hoods are going to be a very direct lesson for you. But let's go over the faction characteristics. There's two major things to note about these fellows. They are fast, and they love their energy weapons. And their missiles, to a lesser degree, but man, they love their energy weapons. So, our friend here, the Megawatt, has a top speed of 81 meters per second, and it's doing like between 60 and 70 when it's turning. So they're damn fast. So that's really one of the main characteristics of them, is that if you're used to dealing with Deepwater Guard craft, especially given that the Lightning Hoods are right next to them, you're going to have a horrible time if you're not prepared for anything that moves fast, be it flying or on the surface, or even underwater. More on that later. And they're especially fond of lasers. The Megawatt is not the best example of that, but I'll spawn in something that is... Where is a laser thing? The Penumbra. The Penumbra is a laser friend. Not the scariest laser friend, but all the magic is... This is actually really cool. They've got a pop-up turret there. So a lot of their ships look something like this. They are jammed full of lasers, and they absolutely go nuts on the frequency doublers as well. I'm pretty sure this is an older design. Like I said, there's going to be a major update pretty soon, and the Lightning Hoods in particular are going to get some significant updates. Plasma! Sorry, I seem to have a cough there. So, let's go find that multi-purpose laser somewhere. It's somewhere around here. Oh, it's a 4... Oh, look at this! Look at this! It is, it's 4x4 laser Tetris. Very fancy. I do like that. Where is the multi-purpose laser? I should just find it. Hold on. Here's a handy tool. Multi-purpose laser. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Are you all the way back? Oh, there it is. Hello. So the damage per second of this laser, which, it's hell, that's a lot of intensity. The power of this laser is like about, I don't know, just over 6,000 meters per second. The intensity is insane, and no fire needs to be that intense. But yeah, that is a warning with their lasers these days, is that they will set you on fire. Why is there binary on that screen there? That's strange. That is strange and unusual. I don't even know. Anyway, so they love their lasers, and this is probably, given that if you're playing the campaign on easy, as new players are wont to do, you're going to run into the Deepwater Guard, you're going to run into the Onyx Watch, but the Deepwater Guard is the first thing you're likely going to finish off, which means that the Lightning Hoods are really your introduction into defending yourself against energy weapons and lasers in particular. If you are prepared, if you have smoke and shields, so if you've got planar shields and if you've got smoke, you will probably be okay. You will survive at least. If you do not have either of those things, you will have a bad day. It's pretty binary, honestly. And one particular thing to note, I mentioned last time the laser ACB trick, which is basically just triggering smoke immediately on your craft spawning. So I'll just show that again, so we're all clear on this. So you go here, you have on start, action, smoke dispensers, release smoke, and test. So it basically does that. That is very helpful, mostly for twin guard like sniping lasers, but I can confirm that the Lightning Hoods are going to get at least one vehicle which is really fond of the whole sniping laser. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that is a laser with one Q switch, so it fires slow, powerful pulses that just unloads a huge amount of laser energy just per shot, which pierces. And a really strong version of those can go through ships lengthwise, so it is really quite helpful to be smoked before that even shoots at you, because it has the rotten habit of like doing serious damage before your smoke even triggers. So the thing shoots you, your smoke dispenses, but then it's kind of too late. There's a hole straight through your ship. So this particular trick is very handy indeed. And there are some weaknesses. The Lightning Hoods actually have some very specific weaknesses as compared to other craft. For one thing, especially their lower tier craft, this... Actually, yeah, look at this. So, they tend to have quite thin armor. So, this isn't too bad. It's alloy, heavy armor beams, and, it's alloy beams and heavy armor beam slopes. So, they're not going to die instantly, but compared to some of the nonsense that you see in other factions, in particular things like the Twin Guard, the Steel Striders, and of course the flying bricks like the Grey Talons, and the Scarlet Dawn, this is basically like paper. Like, there's a lot of stuff that will smash straight through this. Like, even like high explosive missiles and crams, or even APS can actually just brute force their way through this. Not easily, but like fairly quickly. So they really do rely on their speed a lot. And so that is the catch, is that they rely on speed for defense. And if you can hit them, there's a reasonably good chance you can kill them. They're not like the Twin Guard, in which hitting them doesn't guarantee anything because they'll just repair it, the bastards. And speaking of crams, these guys are designed to bully you. If you like crams. And where did the Megawatt bugger off to? Where'd you go, dude? Come back here. Actually, let's destroy all vehicles, and we're going to spawn in... I don't know, we're going to spawn in... What's a fast thing? The megawatt is over there. We're going to spawn in... Oh, I don't know. What's a fun thing to spawn in? Let's spawn in a mace. Actually, let's spawn in an Alcazar. That's even more fun. Alright, so... note how well the crams do, although the megawatt does like to drive quite close. Whee! So, crams... Yeah, so small crams is, if this is your first faction after the Deepwater Guard, you're gonna run into lambs a lot, and, yeah. Let's see, and yeah, you're gonna run into lambs, and you're gonna run into things that Tokyo drift at 60 meters per second. You'll notice even that ACB is missing. And, yep, that cram shot wasn't gonna hit anyway, but the megawatt decided to destroy it anyway. It is actually, I do have to say, it's very satisfying to see, Alcazar being bullied this bad. Take that! But yeah, so if you're used to shooting at slow stuff, the lightning hoods are going to be a problem for you. So bring along stuff that is good at shooting at things that move quickly. Crams, not recommended. They are generally quite expensive for the damage they do. Like, you saw how many frequency doublers were in the, what's its face? Hold on, what's its name? Was it the column that I spawned in? I think it was. Or was it the penumbra? I think it was the column, yes. So, just to give you an idea of just how expensive the lightning hoods craft are, which is probably why they're being updated. Lasers are just generally very expensive. Like, you see over here, the multipurpose laser combiner, and laser barrels. They're pretty expensive. The pumps add up really quickly, the storage adds up really quickly, and the frequency doublers are 250 materials per block, and they like to spam these. So the good news is that if you're got craft that can hit them, that are the same material cost but use cheaper weapons, like APS, you have a significant advantage over them. So APS is generally quite a good idea against them. They do tend to punish weaker armor, though, so this is a faction that you're not going to be able to dodge what they throw at you for the most part, because they like hit-scan weapons like lasers and packs. So you do need to armor somewhat properly. You need to armor quite cleverly, actually. Or at least use stronger materials. You can coast by on wood against the Deepwater Guard, and to a lesser extent the Onyx Watch. But against these guys, you are going to have to start using... more sturdy materials. Like, you're gonna have to move away from like wood and stone, and start using more metal and heavy armor, because little reminder of how smoke works these days. It reduces the intensity of lasers that pass through it. So yeah, so if we drop a smoke dispenser here, just so we're all on the same page, smoke reduces laser intensity to blah blah blah, and if you set this higher, it does more so. You can drop it down to 43.7%, which effectively reduces its armor piercing value. That's basically... Intensity is like fire, but for lasers. So, wait, no. Intensity is like armor piercing, but as it relates to fire. So yeah, like, that works better if you're smoking something that has some fire resistance already, like metal... like heavy armor, like stone. Works considerably less well against wood, speaking as someone who likes to build with wood. And yeah, what can we do here? Plasma is the opposite, I should mention. So with plasma, you don't want to spam stuff which has high armor, which tends to mean high fire resistance. You want to spam, you want air gaps of softer material generally, so the thing wastes damage. Just lots of hit points. And so you actually kind of have to armor your craft in both ways. So if I spawn in, this is probably not the best example, really. Good old Icicle. I like this thing. I put smoke on her specifically for this video. So this armor scheme, it holds up reasonably well against lightning hood designs. I wouldn't recommend using wood much at all. But it's a mixture of stuff. It's not just solid wood. There's some more... Did I prefab this wrong? There's kind of a mixture of like more fire resistant, aka laser resistant materials in there as well. You need an intensity of at least 50 to deal with this, and once you put smoke on this, it works better. In fact... Oi! Rude! Die! So yeah, this ain't what you want. What you actually want is something more on the line of what the Steel Striders do for their armor. Let's go find a hard Steel Striders design. This is probably going to look quite funky in Lightning Hood's colors. Damn, that looks weird. So lots of metal. Lots of metal. A nice big air gap here to fool that plasma. And if I'm not mistaken, that is a shield protector. Shield projectors, by the way, they reduce laser intensity. This one isn't particularly strong, but even that can make a difference. And like lots of air gaps to fool that plasma. That's kind of what you want a little bit more. And so yeah, you want thick layers of cheap material, but also air gaps and a nice reinforced citadel just to stop your internals barbecuing too much. Now, we should probably talk about weapons, and actually both these crafts kind of demonstrate a little bit of like the weapons you should use. Just going to respawn in the icicle because I was testing this thing against Lightning Hood's designs, and it does pretty well actually. Punches above its weight, possibly because most of its cost is the weapons. You want fast APS generally, or hit scan weapons. So Lightning Hoods generally have pretty good missile defense, and I can demonstrate that hopefully. Like so. Let's spawn in... What's a good Lightning Hoods design? Let's spawn in... What's something very fast? Let's spawn in... I don't know. Well, hold on. Let's first spawn in something that has a lot of missiles. Let's spawn in the Palisades, see how it does. Over here, we're going to spawn in a Lightning Hoods thing. Let's spawn in the Dynamo, shall we? Let's see if this thing has the missile defense that is required. It might not. Oh dear, this is one of the things that doesn't drive like crazy. So this is another little plasma craft they have. Pew pew pew. Although it does have a bunch of interceptors. Will it have enough interceptors though? How fast does this thing move? Yeah, no, it moves plenty quick. Actually, yeah, this looks like it... Nope, never mind. Although it did just dodge almost all of those. So, this is kind of what I'm talking about. That's a huge waste of a missile volley, even though 2 of them hit. So, yeah. Generally, missiles are, you can use them. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. This thing is dodging missiles like it's a crazy person. It's about to fall into the ocean, though, which is unfortunate. Also, it is absolutely winning. And it's about to stop winning any second now. Whoopsies! Whee! Thank goodness for heavy armor, except it's now on fire. Not the best example, I do have to say. Cram, though? Forget it. You saw what was happening with the Alcazar. Actually, no, there's a great example of a cram thing. What's a good cram thing? Let's spawn in something really fun. Let's spawn in the Great White, and spawn in an equivalently sized... Oh goodness, the Great White is the Great White's fat as hell. Alright, spawn in... What's something that is a nice big thing? How well does the Terawatt do you think? Let's spawn in the Angstrom. Let's see if the Great White has what it takes to actually land cram shots on this thing. So initial volley whiffs completely, as cram tends to do. Great White does have some... The Great White's probably going to win this, but let's see how many of those cram volleys actually hit at all. Angstrom's actually pretty gorgeous, actually. Although I think the missiles might be a bit of... These missiles can't even catch it. Actually, they can catch it. Uh-oh. Whee! Nope, they can't catch it. Oh dear. Let's see where these crams go. Those crams make a whistling noise as they fail to hit at all. So, this kind of craft, really not good against the Lightning Hoods. Crams, forget it. Nope, 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 don't bother. I speak from bitter experience. Unless you're building something that can keep up with them, that is fast enough to... Hang on, let's see... You see where those crams go. Nope, they're gonna miss horribly. Because Lightning Hood's craft, they're not only fast, they're also maneuverable. These ones might hit... No, they won't. So yeah, like, they're not only fast, they're maneuverable, which does tend to ruin Cram's ability to hit them, although that one did. When they do hit, it's very satisfying. Basically, take something like the Eerie, make it move at 100 meters per second, and put a lot of smoke on it, and that's the Cram vehicle you need. Probably in general, honestly. Other than that, not really recommended to use Cram at all against these guys. That missile's gonna hit. Yay! Steel Strider is actually kind of hard to counter the Lightning Hoods in a lot of ways. It's a good example. Yay, kablooey. APS. Highly recommend using Heat. A lot of their craft do have spaced armor, but it's like the bare minimum of spaced armor. And AP is best because since their armor tends to be quite thin, like you saw what the Column had. The Column? The Columb? I don't know how to say it. Let's look at this guy. See the armor he's got. There's a nice cross-section that the Great White actually opened up for us. So you see, there's heavy armor in here, but it's like not really stacked layers of heavy armor. This armor is relatively thin, so to speak. Something blew up there, like, wow. Wah. Oh, this thing's not on my team, unfortunately. But anyway, so their armor can be is made of strong materials, but it is thin, which means that kinetic rounds work really, really well against them, because lob Sabo shells at them and it just kind of tears straight through them like there ain't even a thing. And AP Heat works absolute wonders against these guys, so I highly recommend them. Also Plasma. Plasma against them works really well, because Plasma has very high muzzle velocity, and oh my goodness, that missile hit. Also, Plasma is really good against compact designs, and a lot of Lightning Hood's craft tend to be quite compact. They jam a lot of blocks, like, nice and tightly into each other. And particle cannons, of course, work very well. Again, compact designs, a nice piercing pack, you can put holes straight through it. In fact, I can demonstrate that right the hell now. Where is the horrible particle cannon thing of the Twin Guard? I think, what was it? Was it the Curiosity? It was the Tranquility. Damn it, these names are not very helpful. Was it Tolerance? Was it the Panic? Was it the Meek? No. No. Nostalgia, the Anguish. I don't remember. Truly, I do not remember. Actually, I think the Euphoria is what I'm thinking of. So over there's the Euphoria. Going to spawn in. How much was the Euphoria? 500k. And let's spawn in the Angstrom again, because that's funny. Ah, yes, yes, I nailed it. This is actually what I was hoping for. So particle cannons are really good against these guys. That looks really trippy. Because, well, they shine straight through them. Nice compact designs. Poking holes straight through them. Where'd that go? What bits fell off there? I'm seeing laser bits! So yeah, that kind of start of the fight, Alpha Strike, shotgun pack. It works against most things, honestly, but it works damn well against Lightning Hoods because they really do like to jam a lot of expensive blocks into a very tight space. So yeah, that works a treat. Lasers, of course, fight flashlights with flashlights. Lightning Hood's craft, some of them have smoke, some of them do not. A lot of the lower tier ones don't have smoke. So make sure to copy them a little bit if you really want to go nuts on the lasers. Use them frequency doublers, bearing in mind that's expensive. And aim for hot blocks. So you'll notice, back here on our friend... hell was this thing called again? The Angstrom? That thing... Tell me that's not... Okay, thank goodness. That's not a real ring shield. I panicked. You'll notice there's a lot of custom jets in here. A lot of big, expensive custom jets that are very, very hot. So I'm not sure you can even see that. It's quite laggy, actually, to see how much these heat these guys give off. So yeah, the jet controller, not sure if you can see, it's over there, is almost 5,000 degrees centigrade, which is stupidly hot, actually, which means that anything that aims for hot blocks is great, because it'll just tear out the custom jets. And the funny thing about Lightning Hood's hydrofoils is that when you take their engines out, they sink. Because they're not really buoyant. There's a lot of heavy armor in there quite often. And they just, well, if they're not moving, they sink. They die. They're like a shark, actually. Also, really fun thing with Lightning Hood's craft is, where shall I go? I will go here. Whee! So a particularly fun counter to Lightning Hood's craft is the ground. So we're going to spawn in the Angstrom over there, like so. And depending on... right, this is a little bit artificial. But it's worth mentioning that these guys drive like crazy, and From the Depths terrain avoidance is generally very, very bad. It only checks for terrain blocks directly underneath the ship, which means that if you're cunning... Let's see if this guy... Nope. He's gonna go that way. What the hell happened? Did this guy just get crippled immediately? If so, that's impressive. How? I don't know what happened there, to be perfectly honest with you, but... Huh. That wasn't what I meant to happen at all. Anyway, you know what? Let's try this again. But, let's try this again, demonstration-wise. So, Angstrom... So yeah, if you bamboozle them into driving on land, you'll notice that this fella does not have rubber on them. Not all of them do, hopefully more of them will get rubber, but yeah, they drive like crazy, they can't really detect the ground very well, and they do tend to scrape off their intestines on the ground like this. Sometimes that's all it takes for them to despawn. Better than they used to be, but that is a particularly fun cheese tactic, is just try and... fight them near land and just hold position and just try not to let them laser you to death before they kill themselves on the ground. Right, so we should probably go over the craft to watch out for, and this is where I'm probably going to need to jump into my special secret folder that Serb has so thoughtfully provided me. There are a few annoyances that the Lightning Hoods have, one of which is a plane. It's in fact an easy plane. No, it's a... Yes, this fella. So the Firefly, if you're used to shooting down planes with missiles, you're gonna have a bad day with this guy for one very specific reason. It's this. This is a warp craft, and might very well be the first one you can encounter in a campaign. It's a horrible shock. Because I'm not sure why it's got a spin block in here. Wait, no. I do know, that's decoration. Herp derp. Alright, so let's spawn in... What should we spawn in that has missiles? What's a fun thing to spawn in that has missiles? Flying squirrel? Don't mind if I do. It's probably not going to win. I just want to show off what it does. Wah! When it detects missiles, it does a fun thing. What the hell? I think one of the flying squirrels just died. Come on, don't make me edit this. Don't make me edit out your fight scene. There we go. So that's what it does. If missiles get too close, it just warps. It warps, it runs away. Is it actually going to be able to take on all these flying squirrels? Because no, it isn't. Oh, thank goodness. There is another thing to mention with this particular plane. Hopefully, again, this gets updated. Usually, when you're shooting at this thing willy-nilly, I'm actually going to spawn it in again, but this time on the enemy team, so you know what I'm talking about. Firefly. Spawning. Where is my friend here? This is a little fighter I've made. And hopefully this doesn't take too long. See him. Whoop! There he goes. So this particular matchup, this My Little Jet Fighter does win. Why? This is why I don't script heavily, is because nothing goes according to plan. Oh boy. Anyway, heat shells work well against those guys, but there's a particular problem with the Firefly in particular. You take out one of the engines, it death spirals. It's another reason to bring lasers along when fighting the Lightning Hoods, or against anyone with small annoying aircraft. And, what the hell did... Alright, so just another way to prevent that, it is entirely feasible to have a jet fighter, an air superiority fighter that has lasers on it, and I'm just going to go show you an example of it that I actually built for me custom campaign. Where is it? Here, it's the Aeon, spelt in Leet speak. Bird. So just try and dodge this. Generally speaking, Lightning Hood's craft can dish it, but they can't take it. Whee! Zap, 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 zap. Whee! Nice, reliable damage. Sometimes it even instantly kills it. So yeah, note to self. Don't arm your air superiority jets. Actually, you shouldn't be using small jets against the Lightning Hoods much at all, because lasers tend to kill them, as is being demonstrated here. Whee! Uh-oh. Someone's on fire. Someone's going to disintegrate. Sucks for you. Actually, does that thing have a laser on it? Like, no, it doesn't. It's just armed with missiles. It's just armed with missiles. Yay. So what else can we talk about? What, So, on the note of Warpcraft, so I spawned in the column previously. That thing's getting an update, and that thing warps. So, I should probably demonstrate that right now, in fact. So, let's spawn in our friend here. Let's spawn in our friend. Let's spawn in our friend here. New column is over here. A lot of these things are not fully finished, so I'm not going to show them off. I don't want to spoil the surprise. But this is the new one. This is our new friend. And it's going to be a warpy fella. You are 170,000. 170,000 or something. Let's spawn you in against a Straussland, because that's funny. Whee! Not entirely sure what the warp rod does for something like this. Aha, here's the warp rod. This thing actually just gets it up out of the water if it spawns too low by the looks of it. Whee! And it looks like this thing has a burst laser. Let's go have a look at it. This is the upcoming nonsense. I should warn you. I should warn you, this thing. Whee! Right, where is... Hold on, let's see here. Warp trigger controls. Nothing. Here, let's go find... It's probably a breadboard. If I was a bread... Alright, if there's enemy within blah blah blah... There's no enemy, blah blah blah... Okay, interesting. That's not what's happening. Right, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Just note, there's going to be more Warpcraft in the future. And there is another craft I should mention. Again, it's not particularly formidable, really. It's just annoying. And hopefully that gets updated. Where is it? Where is it? It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it sounds quite atrocious. Oh, here we go. The Rectifier. Nothing to do with rectums, I assure you. The reason that this guy's a pain in the butt is just how laggy it is. It spawns a lot of small missiles, so, yeah, I'm not sure what advice to give you about that, because those of you who don't have super good computers, my computer is like an absolute beast. It's got a pretty damn good CPU. And you've probably noticed some dropped frames already. That's just because of all this nonsense. My computer's actually chugging right now. This thing, I don't know what it is. This thing fires too many small missiles, and I guarantee you I'm not the first one to complain about that. Look at this. Look at this crap. Oh, we appear to have immediately taken out some of its laser bits. Delightful. This is why you also can't skimp on the missile defense when fighting the lightning hoods. Whee! Whoops. Whee! Oh! Whee! Because, man, they do like their missiles. Is that spin block decoy doing its best, living its best life. Whee! And if you have smoke, well, we're taking a lot of damage, but it could be a lot worse. It also helps to move a fair amount, like keep turning, so the lasers can't focus down on one spot. That is worth noting. There's also submarines, which tend to be armed with particle cannons, so that's annoying. So there's two in particular we should probably talk about. The anode, which is, well, currently it's a melee sub. So here we go. We have the anode, and it has a nice big melee pack on top of it, like so. But there's also a new version of the anode, which is going to be less of a melee vehicle, and it's worth mentioning now. Where is it? Craft previews, anode final version. Bigger, meaner, mighty uncleaner, and pretty much, oh dear. Pretty much all of these guys, oh dear, somebody hasn't stuck rubber on it yet. Pretty much all Lightning Hood submarines apparently are going to be updated to function a lot like underwater planes. So they're going to be nice and fast, nice and maneuverable, and they're going to dip and dive and roll and all that stuff. It's going to be really cool. By the looks of it, the anode is still going to be like a somewhat easier design. But yeah, it's going to have a properly scary particle cannon. Let's just see what this is aimed at. Okay, vertical lens. Oh wow, no wonder. Vertical lens, it is piercing. Excellent. Alright, so note to you watching. There's going to be more subs, and there's one more submarine that is worth mentioning. Where is it? It's the Cherenkov. So, let's spawn this fella in. This is like an underwater jet fighter. It's pretty cool, actually. The reason this guy is particularly worth mentioning, even though it's only a medium design, is that if you're used to using torpedoes to deal with submarines, this guy moves at 54 meters per second, which means that it's actually quite troublesome for a lot of torpedoes to hit it. Make sure your torpedoes are nice and fast, or, better than that, bring along your supercavitation APS, bring along your particle cannons, and shoot it that way, because slow torps don't do very well against this guy, at all. What else can we mention? Plasma craft. So we've already seen the megawatt and the dynamo. There's going to be more of them. Let's see. Let's look in my magic folder. I believe there's there's going to be more plasma craft. I don't think I have access to all of them at the moment. But in particular, the big hydrofoils are something you're going to need to be a little bit paranoid about. So let's just go here. So the big ones are, and I'll show them all at once because they're all pretty similar. So the Angstrom we've already seen. So the Angstrom, the Terawatt, those guys. So the Angstrom, the Terawatt, the Exodyne, the Candela, the Exajoule, and the Impedance. Hopefully I haven't spawned these guys inside each other, because that would be very unfortunate. Please don't crash my game. So I'm just going to turn God mode on for all these guys, just to be sure. So we should go through them one by one. Whee! Alright, so the reason that you got to be scared of the big stuff in particular, like more so than usual for Lightning Hoods, is that energy weapons in general scale up with size pretty well, with the possible exception of plasma, in which there is a minimum maximum size that's useful. And there is the Candela that's about to demonstrate why Mother Nature and the Earth herself is one of the best weapons against these guys. It's because energy weapons scale up with size particularly well. It's hard to make them compact, so when they get bigger, they get a lot more powerful. So noting that the Candela in particular is going to be... Is this the Candela we're on? Alright, this thing is actually going to be updated. It's going to be able to launch drones off it, so it's effectively going to have be an aircraft carrier in the future to come. I'll spawn in as a treat the unfinished thing that I've been sent by Serb. So, noted, the Terawatt in particular is actually the one I'm personally really scared of, because this thing says to hell with lasers, we just have particle cannons. Very strong particle cannons, by the way. So this guy in particular is something to fret about. Wow, almost 500,000. Yeah, and a disguised vertical lens. Interesting. So yeah, 500,000 thump damage. So that's a lot. That is a lot. And it's got the cannon input, so it loses raw damage but does more damage over distance, which weirdly enough contradicts the advice I was about to give you, which is keep your distance with this thing. Because, let's see, how many bolts does it have? It's only the one bolt, so if it misses, it misses. That's good. I'm actually just, I'm gonna go through all of them. So, the Candela and the Exojoule, so where's the Candela? So, warp over here. That's this fella again, soon to be updated. Probably made a lot scarier, let's be honest. And the Exojoule, where are you? There you are, let's warp over to you. These guys really focus on the burst damage, so in the opening stages of combat, they let rip with a really, really strong laser, and then the damage kind of peters out as the fight goes on. Or so I am told. This is where the whole ACB smoke trick comes into real handy, so when you see these guys on the horizon, if you don't have a little ACB that triggers all your smoke on spawn, that is a great time to enable it or place it down, because these lasers are very, very strong. They hurt like crazy. Like these that look at this nonsense. And yeah, the amount of frequency doublers that this thing has, you might think that it's kind of pointless to have smoke at all. Trust me, it makes a very big difference. Because oh jeez, look at this. The 1Q damage per second, the sustained damage per second is like 13,000. And sustained damage per second, damage of next shot. You can see that the damage of the next shot in the 0Q laser, over 1,000, that's your hint that it's a real strong burst. And then it peters off a little bit. New Candela, I mentioned that before. And a note about these guys, this is why the ground is such a good weapon to use against them. They have these little hydrofoils here. I believe in the future a lot of them are going to have these little fragile, weak hydrofoils replaced with the large rudders, which are much stronger and much more effective. But note to self that if you do manage to somehow get underneath them, which is a little bit difficult because they're very fast, blowing up their hydrofoils is a great way to get them to sink, and I will demonstrate that. Oh wait, this guy's on God mode. Damn it, destroy all vehicles. Spawn in the Candela. We will demonstrate now. The Candela is actually one of the things that does have a little bit of rubber proofing, which is very nice indeed. But if you blow up the hydrofoils, particularly on the front, the thing does a funny thing. It nosedives into the water a little bit. Slows down gratefully, slows down a lot, and then sinks. Because this thing is actually a brick in disguise, and if you take off its hydrofoils, and if it stops moving, it doesn't know how to swim. So, quite handy there. That is another reason to use submarines against the lightning hoods. Just make sure they're rubber-proof so they can kind of bounce along the seafloor as much as possible. Hit them underneath with supercavitation APS, or even just explosive packs or something like that. You can take out their hydrofoils, make them sink, and that's very nice. Now, I'm going to repair you, and I'm going to spawn in the in-progress Candela, just to prove that I can. So, I don't know why the Cumpdilla, that sounds kind of sus, honestly. So this thing is not finished, but you can see kind of a preview of where they're going to go with this. They're going to have a little flight deck, they're going to launch some drones, and what are these supposed to be? Fascinating. But yeah, this is going to be the new Candela. It's going to be big, it's going to be mean, it's going to be mighty unclean, and we need to spawn in the old Candela to barbecue something just so I can show off that pulse laser. Bleh. I've been talking too much today. Ugh. Spawn in the Candela. Spawn in a hapless victim. 800k. Probably best done with something. Let's spawn in the Eerie. The Eerie is fun to shoot at with a big laser. And watch the damage numbers in the top right hand corner, because that's going to be super fun to look at. Whee! So that's like immediately like yep, like within a few seconds it's like 500,000 laser damage. So really quite a lot. 6% health taken off immediately. That's what you got to worry about. In fact, it helps when you're fighting these guys to kind of... Oh my goodness. The one time I don't want you to demonstrate this. The one time. And oh dear, it looks like high explosives have scraped your stuff off. Uh-oh. You are now flying, and you've lost your hydrofoils a bit. Well, I am glad that you managed to demonstrate how strong your laser is. How much laser damage have we done? Yep, over 1 million. And if I go in here, let's see if I'm right about the whole burst laser thing. Where is that? Where is that? Where is it? Show it to me. Show me your moves. Show me your moves. There we go. So you see there, it is not keeping up very well now, so the damage of the next shot is 121 over there. So this guy relies on just alpha strike lasers in order to deal with whatever it's dealing with. And it's still doing damage aplenty. It's just not doing as much in that opening shot. And yeah, it's about to do, yep, once again, demonstrating why it's a good idea to fight these guys near the coast. Because unfortunately their terrain avoidance is not very good. To anyone working on the lightning hoods, do remember to stick rubber on the underside of these guys. Because, like, you know, it's a little bit of a shame to spend millions of dollars in honest taxpayer money on a super futuristic laser hydrofoil, only for the pilot to not know how to drive and to drive it straight into an island. And there you go, that's the lightning hoods. Unfortunately, not much lore today. I can kind of touch on the lore. These guys were the scientists who kind of were rolling with the Steel Empire back when it was still the Steel Empire, and they basically betrayed them, buggered off with a whole lot of precious technology, actually stole a lot of technology from the Twin God of all people, or of all robots, and now they're making a living by selling technology to the White Flayers, and they're just very greedy corporate types. On the whole. You're about to bounce into the land again, aren't you? Oh dear, you would have won. You would have won so well, but unfortunately, there's an island in the way. Well, thank you all so much for watching. This has actually been a better demonstration of the weaknesses of the lightning hoods than I possibly could have hoped for. But the Candela repeatedly committing harakiri on the ground, it's still won. It's about to drop the Eerie into the ocean. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, sir, for sending me essentially a preview of where these guys are going to go in the future update. This Candela is actually going to die. It's going to die. It's only half the craft it used to be. Oh no. So yeah, thank you for that, sir. Much appreciated. Looking forward to the update when it actually happens. And I'm just mesmerized by the wackiness that's happening on stream. On stream? On screen right now. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on a Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps. And there's fun perks in it for you. Like, at the lowest tier, $1 a month, you get access to an exclusive Patreon Discord where you can hang out with me and other cool people. And do check out, thank you to all my current supporters. I keep forgetting to say that, naughty me. Do check out my other channels. There's a pretty fun commentary I did on Age of Mythology Retold over on the Border RRR channel. I'd be appreciated if you could watch that. That'd be really good. Aside from that, I'll see you next time in From the Depths. Faction Craft Overviews for Neater. Farewell!